So for the past couple of seasons, you guys have been telling me that I am a bit too stingy with transfer fees and contracts. Well, I'm changing that now because I've just spent £10.5 million on one player. So hello and welcome back to Hot to the Top. Hope you're all doing well today as we've got a massive episode today with our Champions League first knockout round game coming up. I won't tell you who we're playing just yet to keep the suspense going, although if you've seen the thumbnail, you might have already guessed. Before we get into anything else though, we need to talk about this £10.5 million transfer that we brought in. He's a Brazilian wonder kid or regen. Maybe not a wonder kid yet. We'll have to wait and see how he sort of develops, but he looks pretty decent to me. We've also signed two other players that could be quite good, but they are more destined for the under-18 squad right now. First of all, it's Pierre-Alexandre Breton, bought from Nimes for £700,000, which is a lot for a 17-year-old with 1-star current ability, but 4.5 stars of potential looks pretty good. Right back's a position that we need to strengthen in the future. We've got no good right backs coming through our youth system right now either, so I think he's a great sign to have who will also bolster that under-18 squad that we sort of recognised that we needed to do. Big fan of his physicals and his teamwork, by the way. That's pretty decent, I think, for 17 years old. We've also signed Gianmario Lombardini from Inter Milan for £250k. He is a left winger currently on loan at Rapperswil in the Ligue de Below. They're our affiliate club, but he's slightly better at 18 years old, 1.5 star current ability and 4.5 stars of potential as well. Again, even if they only reach that 3.5 star potential, not 4.5 stars potential, both those players, they'd still be pretty decent. We could sell them on in the future for a bit of profit. So I think they're both decent players. We just need to bolster the squad a little bit in those positions to get a bit more coming through for the future, I think. But obviously, you're here for the big one, the £10.5 million that we spent on one player called Gauther. Now, you guys have identified to me that we need a new goalkeeper. I think we still need to properly replace Ivan Ilic. So two positions that we need to strengthen. Which one have I gone for? Neither of them, because he's a left back. Now, when you look at things like this, he's a left back, 3-star current ability and 5-star potential. You might be thinking, Tom, 10.5 million's a lot to spend on him. And yes, you are absolutely correct. I do slightly regret spending so much money on him, but at 19 years old, 5-star potential, he's Brazilian, surely he's going to be worth it in the future. Now, left back is a position that I do want to strengthen a bit. Boone is fantastic, but he's not going to get any better, and we need to be continually improving the squad, and Gauther's already as good as him, with potential to be better in the future. So I think he's a good signing to bring into the side. Already got 8 caps for Brazil under-20 squad, so hopefully he gets to the first team pretty soon, and once he does that, his value will skyrocket and we can sell him on for loads of money in the future, fingers crossed. He's got incredible physicals for a 19-year-old, I've got to say, and his mentals are pretty decent too. Don't look too closely at the technicals because they're not brilliant. We won't be putting him on free kicks anytime soon, but I think he's still a decent player. He just hasn't quite shown it yet with his 6.65 average rating from 2 appearances so far. He will get better, I'm sure. He just has to settle into the squad a little bit. So they are the 3 transfers that I've made over the transfer window. Obviously, quite a lot of you telling me to replace Fruchtel in the comment section, and to be fair, I do agree with you. I just sort of missed your comments and I didn't see it until after I played the transfer window, you see. So that's kind of an issue on my part, but we will look to replace Fruchtel next season. A lot of you saying he looks a bit weak, and this season has perhaps proved that a little bit, so we need someone better in goal, definitely. Now, to keep the suspense going, although you have probably seen the thumbnail, so you probably do know who we're playing, I'm not going to quite show you who we've got in the Champions League first knockout round yet. Instead, we're going to go through the fixture since you were here last episode first of all. I should also point out, a couple episodes ago, we played Young Boys. I somehow missed out them scoring the 3rd goal in that game. I don't quite know how I missed it, but I edited it out somehow. I'm not quite sure how I managed to do it, but they did score a 3rd goal. We drew that one, didn't win it 3-2. A few of you keen-eyed people in the comment section pointed that out to me. I apologise, I don't know how you got that wrong. It just happens sometimes. Either way, you were last here for the 2-1 win against Porto and the 2-0 win against Zamex. Of course, the win against Porto put us into the Champions League first knockout round, which was mental. We were currently top of the group as we finished that game. And into the game against Bayern Munich, we lost it 3-2. Dajaku scored 2 goals, but unfortunately, Lewandowski got a hat-trick to ensure that they beat us in the end. However, we got very, very lucky. Roma and Porto drew their final game of the group stage, which meant we finished level on points with Roma, also level goal difference, but I think because we scored an extra goal, we scored 10 compared to their 9, we end up topping our Champions League group, which is absolutely mental. Mental that even happens. And what that means is we should should have an easier draw going into that first knockout round. If we look at all the groups for a second, if we look at the group stage, all groups, teams that came second, Leipzig, I'm sure we could beat Leipzig. We could give Milan a run for their money. Borussia Mönchengladbach, give them a run for their money. Lyon, give them a run for their money. Who do we end up drawing? That's what you want to know, isn't it? Who do we end up drawing? If we look at the first knockout rounds, we got Barcelona. Possibly the most difficult side in the entire draw. So I fully expect us to get an absolute drubbing today against Barcelona in the first leg, but we did prove that we could top our group. We had some good results in the group stages, so maybe we could cause a shock. Either way, going back to the rest of the fixtures in the Super League, we drew St. Gallen 1-1, Schneider with a penalty. We then beat Basel 2-1 as well, which is fantastic, keeping some points ahead of Basel. Of course, St. Gallen are sort of around the top of the table as well, so a draw was good to sort of not lose points to them, at least, I should say. We now had the winter break where we ended up playing Valencia and Atletico Madrid to try and get some experience against some good Spanish sides for the Barcelona preparation. After that, we had a 3-0 win against Toon with Smith and Harvey Elliott getting a brace in that game after the winter break. A 1-1 draw with Young Boys with Harvey Elliott scoring first of all before he scored one just before half-time. A shock loss to Sion, who I say are our bogey side. They do seem to beat us in some important games, I've got to say. But overall, we do dominate, actually, I've got to say. We weren't particularly helped either when Augusto got sent off in the 68th minute, which meant he was banned for the Servette game. But it didn't matter too much against Servette because we did manage to win that one 4-0 with Biancone, Schneider, Smith and Elliott all getting themselves on the score sheet. And so today we've got, well, Barcelona and Luzern. Big games. Obviously, Barcelona's the Champions League game. That's massive. But also Luzern, they're a team keeping up with us in the league table. So we have to beat them today if we want to get past them. The league table actually looks pretty good for us right now because we are 2 points clear at the top of it ahead of Basel. 3 points clear of Young Boys. St. Gallen have dropped a few points recently. So they are 5 points behind us now. And Luzern have also dropped points recently to the point where they're 7 points behind us. So a big win against Luzern today, you might argue, could take them out of the title race. But I've done too much waffling now, far too much. We need to get into today's episode and talk about the team and get into this Barcelona game. So Fruchtel is in goal for the rest of the season, but we'll look to replace him next season, as I've already said. Boone is going to stay on the left-hand side for now, just because he is more accustomed to the way we play. He's just more experienced right now in the squad, and I think we need that against Barcelona as opposed to Gauther. So he starts with Bajrami. We've also got Biancone lining up as a centre-back today because Augusto is suspended, as is Callum Brennan. Marko Bozanovic is out on loan, so he's the next sort of best player to fill in at centre-back, which is a little bit frustrating, but we have to deal with it right now as Cruz starts at right-back. Maris, Marin and Schneider in the middle with Claude Maurice, Alex Smith and Harvey Elliott in the attacking midfield. And of course, Matthew Bottles leading the line for us today, only with 5 goals this season, which is a little bit frustrating, but Harvey Elliott with 12 and Randy Schneider with 7. They're the ones leading the way, which is a little bit surprising, especially Schneider. The Barcelona side looks pretty decent, I've got to say. They've got a good side, and they've signed some decent... Declan Rice as well, that's a bit of a weird one. I mean, he's very good, obviously, clearly, but I didn't expect Declan Rice to be in the Barcelona squad. But they've got Boadu, who's a big regen at the moment. I think he plays for PSV in real life. RZ. Either way, he looks like a very, very good player. Dembele, Griezmann, they've got such a good side, so fair play. Kickoff is upon us then, and hopefully we're going to get an away goal. If we can get one away goal, I think that would be fantastic. If we can have a respectable result here today, because we should get absolutely spanked, really, by Barcelona, I've got to say. I think they did dominate against Basel in the group stage. I think they're in the same group as Basel, if I remember rightly, and I think they did dominate them. So I'm expecting a sort of similar thing for us as... Barcelona looking to come forward once again. Declan Rice to Griezmann. And then it goes all the way back to Fruchtel. I mean, that was terrible back pass. Who did that back pass? That's what I want to know. Declan Rice. It's Marin. And that's why we've been starting Palmeirio. And I thought I'd trust Marin today. Although we've trusted him for a few games now. He's been okay. But you hate to see it. I think for just appearing in the first knockout round of the Champions League, we get about £8 million or so, which is huge as they've just scored another very, very good goal. But that £8 million is more money than I think we get if we went on to go and win the Europa League. So I think it does have its merits qualifying for this round, even though we are currently 2-0 down and probably going to get absolutely hammered by Barcelona. It also is probably slightly better for the Swiss coefficient, I would argue, as well. I think being in the Champions League first knockout round is going to help our coefficient points, which is quite good as well, as Dembele's through and nearly makes it 3. However, if I was given the choice and we came third in our group and the choice was you come third in the group but you go on to win the Europa League, or you get to the first knockout round of the Champions League. I would have bitten your hand off to win the Europa League, I think. That's my personal opinion. But I think in terms of reputation in money, this is better for the club. Not that I would actually try to rig results to come third in the Champions League group, because that would be stupid, really. You want to stay in the Champions League for as long as possible. As Fruchtel, I think, makes an error there to allow Barcelona to score their third of the game. Let's watch this one on the replay. Dembele just gets it back out to Semedo. He puts it back into Dembele, or Griezmann, who puts it back to Dembele, and it was just out of position for Fruchtel, really, more than anything, actually, rather than making a mistake. So I think 3-0 down in this first leg after 36 minutes, and nearly 4-0 down. I think we can safely say we aren't getting through into the quarterfinals, unfortunately, but that was to be expected, I've got to say, especially against a side as good as Barcelona, who, I mean, we were unlucky to come up against Barcelona, who only lost out in their group to PSG, so PSG must be a very, very good side. I've just missed another Barcelona goal. It is 4-0 now. The corner came in, and Ruben Diaz just sort of heads it in there with no one else reacting. This is going to be a long game. Bajrami instantly down to a 5.9 rating there as well, so he must have been at fault for that fourth goal. Obviously, you're going to be cross at me, because I've gone with the usual tactic, but the thing is, whatever tactic we use, we're going to get smashed, I think. So we may as well try and go play our usual style of play, because it worked in the group stages. Playing our usual style of play worked in the group stages. So I thought we might have a chance playing our usual style of play, you know, play up to being the underdogs, but try and just go for it like we usually do. It's not worked. I mean, the positive of all this is, the positive is, after we're out of the Champions League, we can focus on winning another league title. I think that's quite important for us. I think it's a team in first and second that gets Champions League group stages. So as long as we come in the top two, I'm very happy to be in the Champions League once again. That's the aim, obviously, to get back to the Champions League group stages. The more times we appear in the Champions League group stages, the better we're going to get as a team, because obviously clubs will want to, or players will want to move to our club because we've got Champions League group stage football. So that's quite a big incentive. So I think then focusing back on the league once we get knocked out to Barcelona after the second leg, I think that's quite important. I would actually say making sure we're in the top two is... What's Bajrami just been sent off for? I don't quite understand what Bajrami's just been sent off for. I wasn't really looking at the screen. I was trying to talk to you about Champions League football, but he's on a... I don't think I've ever seen a 5.1 rating in Football Manager 2020. That is the lowest rating I've ever seen. What it means is Alex Smith's got to come off as well for Sosa. Sosa, get back in there. There we go. Let's just... I mean, we have to sit back now and just sort of wait for the goals to come, I think. There's not really anything we can do out there now. Let's give Coley a run out there instead of Bottles. Let's see what he can do as a false nine. And let's give Dajaku a go instead of Claude Marie. See if he does anything different out there, as somehow Dembele's up on his own and makes it 5. I mean, if we're being honest with ourselves here, Barcelona win 5-0, but they had 40 shots. And that's not a particularly good goal-to-shot ratio, in my opinion. So actually, that's quite a poor performance from Barcelona. I think we've played pretty well, though. I think we can take the win from that pretty much, if, being honest with ourselves. And like I said, we want to focus on the league and getting back into the Champions League group stages. We don't want to be distracted by knockout round Champions League football. We don't want to be distracted by that. We are the real winners here. We're the real winners. For the Luzern game then, we've got to take Schneider off because he's got a suspension for yellow cards. So he'll come off the pitch for Florian Wirtz, and then we'll get just someone else on the bench. Also, we want to give Gauther a start today instead of Boone. So Gauther will come on to make his debut for you guys at least, which would be good to see. Other than that though, despite the terrible loss we just suffered, Augusto actually can come back on the pitch with Biancone. That's probably something we should probably look to do. Remember to do that. Also, actually, Marin played terribly last game as well, didn't he? So we'll bring... where is he? Where is he? Oh, there he is, Palmeiro. Back on the pitch for Palmeiro. We'll take, obviously, Marin off. He can go on the bench instead of Coley instead, I've got to say, because we don't want Coley on the bench. So there we go. That's the team we're going to go for against Luzern, and hopefully go 10 points clear of them in 5th. So kickoff is upon us once again in today's episode. Fingers crossed we actually get through this one without conceding 5 goals, and hopefully score 5 goals ourselves in the process. The first highlight, though, looks like it's going towards Luzern. On looks like a bit of a frosty pitch, but it looks more like clouds more than anything else. It just looks like it looks like clouds, doesn't it? I'll tell you what I want to see. I want to see a hat-trick of assists from Gauther today. Alex Smith just picked up a knock, which you hate to see. He looks like a bruised ankle. It's on yellow. as Luzern have just scored a goal from a free kick there. Headed against the crossbar, bounces down, just goes over the line, and we're 1-0 down today, which isn't a fantastic start, is it? Let's watch the highlight here. As really, we should be winning that header. Fruchtel should have made the save, and I see what you guys are saying now. Fruchtel was letting us down a little bit. Smith's condition isn't getting any better, and Cruz has also just picked up a knock, a bruised shin, and his condition isn't getting much better either. So we might have to make some changes out there very, very quickly, unfortunately. Although I don't think Biancone is on the bench now, which is also frustrating because I don't think we've got any of the right backs available to us. So good start to today's game as we go 2-0 down. This is just a terrible episode, isn't it? So Smith, off you come for... Well, I suppose actually we bring Wirtz on there and then bring Marin on for Wirtz. Let's make Marin, though, a ball-winning midfielder on support. Let's make Wirtz an advanced playmaker on attack. Let's make these guys inverted wingers on support, because that seems to work sometimes, doesn't it? And then Bottles will have to temporarily be an advanced forward, because we can't make too many substitutes, as Cruz has to come off for Biancone, who is on the bench, which is good. Let's say show some passion out there. We want to play better than this. We've had a terrible start to the game. 2 injuries as well. If we don't improve in the second half, there's going to be some big issues. And hopefully we can grab 1 goal before half-time as Bajrami plays it into Augusto, who hoofs up the field to no one, really. That was a poor, poor pass as Luzern looking to come forward on the ball. They play it out wide to their number 7, who can put the ball into their number 2, the right back, who puts it back to him. It's a nice bit of worked-up play there. And I think we may have just given away a penalty. Can today's episode actually get any worse? So the referee's gone to VAR and he's given a penalty which Gauther has given away. Worth every penny of that £10.5 million, isn't he? Every bloody penny. So 3-0 down at half-time. It's actually terrible. It's really terrible, that. I mean, I can accept that against Barcelona, but against Luzern, I cannot accept that. That is awful. We've got a corner early on in the second half there. We can grab one back early on. We might have a chance to at least pull back a draw as Marin rockets the ball, unfortunately, against the post and goes out for a goal kick. Let's demand more from the players as we enter the 56th minute of the game. Their free kick is just put through to their striker far too easily, and luckily, he can't score. Not entirely sure why... I can understand why we wouldn't play well against Barcelona, but I can't understand why we've just not turned up today. Why we've just not turned up today against Luzern. That is unacceptable. So we've just brought Molnar on for Matthew Bottles, which hopefully will make a change. It just popped up on the top of the screen saying that Matthew Bottles is a wonder kid, which is very interesting. I actually realised he was branded as that. So good to know that we've got a wonder kid in Matthew Bottles as well as Harvey Elliott. Hopefully Gauther will turn out to be a wonder kid as well, and the media description will update itself when he actually starts training well. But he's not played very well today as he gave away a penalty. Ends the game on a 6.6 rating, which is one of the lowest. He's not making a good account of himself so far, is he? Unfortunately, Basel win 1-0 against Zurich and they go top of the table. We drop down to second and Young Boys are still to play their game against St. Gallen. So actually, we could drop down to third if Young Boys win, which is terrible. So how bad is the injury to Smith? Only 1 to 2 days. Cruz only out for 1 to 2 days as well. I think because we took them off so early, we've minimised that risk, which is quite good. Because if we'd lost them for any significant period of time, that would be terrible. Matthew Bottles is facing a confidence crisis, apparently. He's now played 12 games without scoring, looks badly short of confidence, which isn't going to help him in his scoring either. He's got a terrible, terrible morale, extremely poor. Let's have a little word with him, all right? Let's praise him, okay? Do we praise him? No, let's warn him. We warn him. We criticise recent form, but we have to say it nicely. We have to say, I know you haven't been scoring recently, but I have every faith in you to get back to scoring ways. That should hopefully improve his morale a little bit. It's gone from terrible to quite poor, which isn't brilliant, but we just need Bottles to start scoring some more goals. So perhaps we move him from a false 9 to an advanced forward, but still a false 9 should score more than 5 goals. The issue is Molnar has also not scored in 8 games as well now, and Coley's only scored 1 all season. We do have some striker issues. Hopefully the strikers start to score before next episode. We've got 2 big games. We've got St. Gallen at home. Of course, that's a big one for the league title race because they're up there as well. And then we need to score 6 against Barcelona. So hopefully Molnar and hopefully Matthew Bottles will start scoring goals by that point to get the 6 goals needed. Either way, thank you very much for watching today's episode. It's been very disappointing. We've conceded 8 goals, scored none. But sometimes these things happen in episodes and we need to turn things around. So stick with it and I'll see you tomorrow for another episode. So drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new around here, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Goodbye.